Hi guys, and welcome back with a couple of preppers. I'm Stephanie, and here on my shoulder joining us today is Ozzy, or aka Mr. Oz. He's a beautiful cockatiel with a color mutation that is actually very prized if you can see him in there. He's a little love most of the time, at least, but he's going to be joining us for a little while today. He's kind of hanging out in the basement where it's nice and warm by the stove with us. But what we're going to be talking about today is doing our own laundry. Yay! We do laundry by hand instead of using washing machines. I know, it doesn't sound all that exciting, but really when it comes down to it, there's really only two major cons to doing your own laundry. Number one is time. Number two is energy. That sucks, I know. But there's a really lot of great benefits to it. Number one, for most people who aren't worried about conservation or anything like that, is your money. You're going to save a ton of money. You're not going to be running that dryer all the time and that washer all the time to get all the kids' clothes done and all that kind of stuff. Instead, you won't use your electric bill at all. You won't use the water pump, anything to that effect. I collect all my own rainwater, so I do use rainwater for this, so I save in that way. If you're using water for your well or city water, you're obviously still going to be having to pay for that, which sucks, but if you can use rainwater, that's awesome. I'll show you one day. I just use a simple bucket system underneath my gutter with a strainer over the top to keep all the filth and nastiness from getting out of the water, and use that just primarily for washing clothes and whatnot. But what we're going to be using today to do this is kind of the new old age fashion of doing laundry by hand. We're not going to be using what's called a wash board. That isn't necessary in this, so you're not going to completely kill your arms. This is going to give you a good workout too, which is great, especially for the ladies when you're looking for time. You want to get your laundry done and get a workout at the same time rather than having to find time to do both, so that's really great. What we're using is this called a mobile breathing hand washer. It kind of looks like a massive toilet plunger. And the way that this works is, if you can see right down in there, if you see all these holes here, that's what makes it breathing and what makes it such a good washer. According to the company, according to reviews, and according to myself, this works better than any electric washer I have seen to get the dirt out of your clothes. The clothes come out so clean using this, not to sound like a commercial, but it is a great device. I got this for about $14 in change online off of Amazon. I've never seen it in any stores. I think you have to order it. I'm not really sure on that, I guess depending on where you live. But it works great, and what it does is actually does a toilet plunger effect. As you're plunging, it's going to push all the water down through the clothes and then suck it back up, and you can literally see that, sit there and watch the dirt come out of the clothes, which can't really make laundry that fun, but it can make it kind of fun for kids. You know, set them up each with their own buckets and plunger and their clothes, and have a race to see who can get their water the dirtiest and get the most dirt out of their clothes the fastest. And that way, moms out there, dads too, you don't have to be stuck doing all the laundry by hand. Also, even if you guys don't want to have to, do this on a regular basis, the days that you have time to save the water, save the money on your electric bill, and get cleaner clothes, do it that way. Or if you're a single couple like me and my husband, I love after work, you take your clothes off, it takes 3 to 5 minutes, wash the whole thing real quick, hang it up on the dryer, and then you're not stuck doing loads and loads of clothes at a time. As you can see behind me, this has been the constitute of most of my morning. Sorry, Ozzy. He can fly, so I'm sorry if he takes off. I don't clip his wings. I like to let him be able to fly. But, as you can see, this has been most of my morning, but I only have a couple pieces left, so I wanted to show you how this works, how we do it, how easy and fun it can be. You can get a great workout while you're doing it, and your clothes will be much cleaner, so stick with me and we'll get to it. Alright, so this is the washroom setup. You in no way have to do it this way in the summertime. I just do it outside. This just made it really good and easy for winter, especially because I hang my clothes. I have to hang them by the fire. Obviously can't hang them outside at this time of year. For example, tomorrow it's not supposed to get above 4 degrees out here, so yeah, don't really want to be doing that outside. But generally, all you really need, you could do one bucket, it makes it easier to have two, but all you really need for doing this is a 5-gallon bucket in your laundry detergent. These, the mobile hand washer fits right inside that bucket. I use one bucket for washing in, one bucket for rinsing in, because you're going to do a wash and a rinse load, just like your washing machine does. I had them both elevated, but we ended up burning the other log, so on and so forth. But I do have at least one of them raised up on a log. The reason that I do this is, and as a warning to anybody else who has these problems out there, you've probably heard me complain before due to a previous job. I do have a torn AC joint that's moderately healed up, not the greatest, but I do also have I damaged my spine and neck. So it does make it very difficult for the plunging motion over and over again for that long period of time, and it makes it a bit easier for me to have it elevated up on a bucket like that so I'm not bent over. So just as a warning, if anybody has back or shoulder issues or anything to that, you may have to play around to get somewhere that you're comfortable to be able to do this. But on top of that, I've got my hamper, so I can pull my clothes out, put them in my first bucket, wash, put them in the second bucket, rinse, and then I've got this, which you will want something to this effect to make it a lot easier on yourself. I did it without it for a while, but I've got this handy dandy little hook here, and all we'll do is I'll hook my clothes on that to help bring them out, and I've got a bucket to catch the water, but I'll show you that all as I go. Underneath my desk over here, which I use this desk for scrubbing, folding, separating, etc. I've got all my buckets in which, well, not all of them, I have a ton out on the deck. Some buckets in which I bring down my rainwater in and leave under there, and it's great because it warms it up by the stove a little bit, so you're not using freezing cold water from outside. On top here, I have my laundry detergent, and I do make my own laundry detergent. It comes out to about 15 to 20 cents per gallon or so. I make probably about 15 gallons at a time when I do this. I've probably got about a month and a half left of detergent left, so when that month and a half is over and I'm making more, I will make a video so you guys can watch for that if you want to see how to make your own laundry detergent. I make both strong chemically, and I also try to make biodegradable when I can, so you can learn how to make both of those. And then over here on top of my wood stove, which you don't have to do this, I did this specifically for the load I'm about to do because I'm going to do sweatshirts, so it takes a little bit more. I've just got a little bit of water on top of the stove getting nice and hot. It's like a really hot bath at this point. You can, I don't know if you can actually see, but the bubbles are starting to build up on the bottom. Obviously, hot water will wash your clothes better than cold, and it's also really nice because during the winter time, as anyone who has a wood stove knows, the air can become very, very dry, and that'll also help add some humidity to the air. So we will get started now. Alright, so I'm just simply going to do a sweatshirt right now to make it pretty quick and easy for you guys to see what's going on. But so I've got my hamper here. I'm going to pull out my sweatshirt because it's starting to get kind of gross. And the first thing I'm going to do, which you don't have to do this, is just the mobile hand washer does a very good job on its own. It's just how picky you are and how gross your clothes. I tend to kind of beat the shit out of this sweatshirt. So I'm going to check for any major nasty imperfections that are stuck on the fabric. And I've got my handy dandy little scrubber, and I'm going to preferably use some of the hot water that I've got over here. Just dampen my scrubby up here, and I'm just going to quick scrub off those major imperfections so that it just comes out a little bit cleaner when we're done. Which actually, it's not as bad as I expected today. Right, now that I've got those major imperfections out, I'm going to simply stick this right in my bucket. And I prefer to put my laundry in first so I know exactly how much water I have to use rather than after. You can do it however you want. But so I'm going to add a little bit of my detergent. I've got to shake this up because again I make my own detergent, so it tends to solidify a lot as it sits. So I'm just going to give it a quick shake. And since it's one sweatshirt, I'm only going to add a little tiny bit. You know, use your judgment. Whatever you would use in your washer too is the same amount that you'll use with this hand washer. You don't need any extra soap. And then I'm going to add my water in. Start with my, oh, sorry, Ozzy. Oh, there he goes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bump it. Can you land? Come here. Oh, boy. So like I said, he can fly. Back up you go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bump this string. I won't do it again. Okay, but anyways, so we're going to start with adding our hot water, and then I'll add what cold water I need to onto that. I didn't need too much more water than what was in that. Just a little bit. And we're going to just cover the clothes over. You don't need much more than what goes right to the top of the clothes, except for that when you're using your hand washer and able to get good suction, you want your water to come up past this ridge here is all. Once it's past that ridge, you're good. Now all we're going to do is we are going to plunge. And plunge, and plunge some more. It doesn't take too long depending on what you're doing. Things like sweatshirts or bedding, which I forgot to mention before, when you're doing massive things like bedding, you can use a much larger bucket if you want. I have a huge pink tub that I use for that kind of thing. But I'm just going to plunge this for probably 2 or 3 minutes. Also, as you're seeing, the suction is so much it will lift this bucket up. I've been meaning to get hooks to strap this down. If not, you may just want to use your legs and lean against it a little bit like I am, and that'll hold the bucket down a little bit more. And a lot of times with big things like sweatshirts too, just tend to take in one place. Every once in a while I'll reach in, flip it over, move it around, go back and plunge a bit more. Now that I am done actually plunging, doing the washing part, I'm just going to simply pull this out and be careful your hands, you're using hot water obviously. And I like to let just at least, it's hard with sweatshirts because it holds so much water, but drain whatever water you can out first. You don't have to, but it makes the rinsing process a little bit easier because you're getting rid of a lot of that dirty water before you put it into your clean. And I have already filled my rinse bucket with nice clean water. I'm just going to drop it right in there. And as you can see how disgusting that water is now. I mean, that really gives you motivation to clean your clothes. Alright, now we're on the last section of washing your clothes, which this I find to actually be the hardest, which is wringing out, which is why I definitely suggest having one of these hooks. So all I'm going to do is pull my sweatshirt out of here, make sure my bucket down here is nice and set up to touch the water since I'm inside. Sweatshirts, pants, any heavy material is obviously going to be much harder than doing something like a pair of socks. Because this can get very heavy with the amount of water that it consumes, obviously. What I'm going to do is take my little hook, and I'm going to, in one way or another, hook my piece of clothing on there so that it's, is attached nice and well, and then I'm just going to start twisting. Twist, and this is why I have my bucket here to catch water and the mat down since I'm inside. You can always do this in your bathtub or outside. You can, wrap it around a pole on your deck or something to that effect. Whatever you want to do, but even when it gets hard to twist, just keep on twisting. Just my bucket a little bit here until you virtually can't twist anymore. As you get to that point, this is why you want something strong. So just pull, let your weight into it a decent amount. Obviously judge based on the strength of what you're wrapped onto and the strength of the piece of clothing before you put too much weight on it. And this will really make you realize how great washing machines are because they do this for you. But just from that one sweatshirt, the amount of water, you can see it in there, that I just pulled out of that. That's one sweatshirt and I'm not even done yet. So that's why it's so important to bring your clothes out or they're going to take days upon days to dry. So I'm just going to leave that while I finish up this video and I'll go back to finishing wringing it out when we're done. But I wanted to conclude and kind of get across about this point. And it's just being more yourself, living, feeling like when you're doing laundry, it's actually worth something just like getting your wood to heat your house rather than turning a dial or something to that effect. You are going to obviously have to dump out your dirty water afterwards. Remember that if you are using a sorry, I'm almost out of breath now. This is why I quit smoking. If you're using a non-biodegradable solution of any sort, don't go dump this in your lawn or outside. You're just going to kill the land that way. Dump it down your drain or something to that effect. When I'm using biodegradable, I'll just walk out my back door and dump it or dump it off the deck or something to that effect. But it is a great workout. I calculated out exactly what my washing machine upstairs used to use before it actually blew up, which is how I started doing this in the first place. But that for medium load, I had to fill it up with 20 gallons of water twice. 20 gallons for the wash cycle and 20 gallons for the rinse cycle, and that's one load of laundry. This I have cut down more than in half of that. So, and also for time consuming wise, if you're wondering, for an entire outfit of clothes, you know, shirt, underwear, socks, pants, etc., if you're going to do it on a nightly basis or something to that effect, I can get that done in maybe about 4 minutes. You know, wash, rinse, dry, hang out, or so 4 to 5 minutes, depending on, you know, how soiled your clothes are, what type of clothing it is, etc. So it's definitely worth a try. And, you know, even if you keep it on hands, that you can do it when you can. You'll save a little bit of water, save a little bit of money, get a good workout, and learn a little bit more about what it actually is living and surviving. So thank you for joining me on this. Hopefully you guys will take it up. Again, this is the mobile breathing hand washer with a couple of preppers. You can find this online for about 15 bucks. It is awesome. It works great. It's a lot easier than a washboard. So get to work, guys. Enjoy, and have some clean clothes.